all of that, and I wound up playing myself in the movie. It doesn't all fit together in a nice bundle, but I'm another only in America story. I've had an opportunity to do some important things in my life. I've always stepped up and accepted those opportunities, and I've always been successful in it. And people can talk about their polls, and I guess they've got me running third here now, but you know, I like to point out that I won 2 races by 20-point margin in a state that Bill Clinton carried twice. And I've never lost an election. So I've been extremely lucky. I've been extremely blessed with the people who have been in my life, extremely fortunate, and successful at what I've tried to do. And it gives me a lot of experience to understand my people and to understand the kind of world that we live in, which is a dangerous world and should be top priority for anybody who would seek to be president.
Question from this direction. The role of intelligent design and can it be taught locally?
It's not the president's job to either decide what the local school board chooses to do or the scientific community chooses to do. They can do whatever they feel like that they need to do, and we have scientists of all kinds, some good ones and some bad. I don't think it's my job to tell them what to do and close off debate or discussion, no matter how much I disagree with it. I think a lot of that's kind of going on now in this global warming debate. All the scientists kind of get together and decide, you know, what the majority of them think, and then they want to close off debate from everything else. I don't think that's the way to go. What I meant by what I put in my flyer and what I say in my speeches is the fact that our country was founded by people of faith. And different ones of them had different views. We know Thomas Jefferson had a slightly different view than John Adams did about those matters. But they all had faith in God. They all had faith in the fact that there was a creator, and that was a basic understanding. And it's reflected in the monuments and in the history of this country. And we look around us in Washington, D.C., and on our currency and whatever. And people are free under that umbrella to think whatever they want to think. And I think President Bush, for example, I mean, he is obviously a strong Christian. He makes no bones about it. But he does not use the presidency to try to push in one direction or another in terms of what free people in a free society ought to think or do. I think that in this respect, he sets a good example.
We have time for one more question. We'll take it from over here.
Very important.
A question on tax cuts, and would you continue them?
Yeah. Absolutely. I think this is going to be a monumental battle that we're going to be facing as the year 2010 winds down. Because as you know, the tax cuts that were passed in 2001, which I was able to help out on, and 2003 are going to expire during that period of time. And the Democrats are licking their chops because they're going to be the beneficiary of a big windfall without ever having to pass another bill. It's going to fall into their laps. The only problem with that is that it will be very, very bad for our economy, not only unfair to the American people. You know, I grew up believing that a dollar belonged in the pocket of the person that earned it, unless the government can make a compelling case why they can spend it better. And in some cases, you know, you can make that case, but not nearly in all the cases that they promote today. We should have reached a consensus a long time ago in this country that lower taxes and lower tax rates promote growth in our economy. And without growth in the economy, you have nothing else. You can't have the kind of national defense or national security that you want. You can't create the jobs that you need. You can't be competitive in the global marketplace. Even as far as corporate taxes are concerned, people think about, you know, who cares about corporations? Well, there's stockholders there. Half the people in the country now are invested some way through pensions or otherwise, plus workers. People decide where they're going to locate plants and businesses, you know, based on things like that. We've got the second highest in the industrialized world tax rate for our companies. We're the only, there's only one other company that's a competitor of ours who hadn't lowered their corporate tax rate since 1994. We still keep it way up there, and it makes us less competitive and fewer jobs and so forth. So you know, that is a core conservative principle, I think. It is a constant battle in a democratic society when people learn that they've got the keys to their own treasury and they can pass all these bills and do all these wonderful things, they think, at the same time having to raise the money to pay for it. And the taxes, if we're not careful, will continue to grow up as government grows and becomes less accountable and saps up more and more of the production of American society. So I think it's fundamentally important not only to keep those rates where they are, but to do away with the death tax, and to lower the corporate tax, and to also simplify the individual tax. I propose an option that I think would be a major step toward tax reform. We've got a 66,000 page tax code now that's hopeless. Nobody can understand, the least efficient in the world. I would propose an option that's been studied that should be revenue neutral, that will say if you want to fill out your taxes the same way, fine. But if you want a flatter tax, I propose one with two rates, one 10% for $50,000 income and less, $100,000 for a couple, then above that 25%. You get one personal exemption deduction as you always get, but nothing else. And it's an option. You can choose that if you want to. I think a lot of people would choose that. You could fill it out on one sheet of paper. So that's the approach that I would take. Thank you. It's almost flat, and it would be a first major step in that direction.
Well, it is with regret that I must bring this interview and this forum to a close. And for KNIA KRLS, the #1 news and information source in Marion County, this is Bob Leonard. Thank you, Senator Thompson, members of the audience in Smoky Row.
Thank you very much.